Hello and welcome back to From Panels to Pictures. This is the comic book, movie and TV show from the Comic Garage.
It's like one of those.
I'm afraid.
Yeah.
Doing something a bit different today. Normally we would talk about comic book, movies and TV, as I indicated just a couple of minutes ago. But today we're going to do Army of the Dead. Which is the recent Zack Snyder movie, which has just dropped on Netflix. As you can tell, Nikki is very probably a fan of this. I don't want to call it this early, but I suspect that she liked this one. We both watched it just last night. This is coming hard on the heels of our episode on Jupiter's Legacy and Invincible, which you may have watched recently. Thank you if you watched that. Welcome to all the new subscribers, by the way. If you want to check out the Patreon, please do that. It's up there in the banner, I believe, and also down below in the comments. And also check out the web store where we sell loads and loads of comics that you might have missed recently, and some good back issues, things like that. All of that helps keep the shop, helps keep the website going. As I said, Army of the Dead today. I'm also going to kind of give you a quick look at The Quiet Place Part 2, which I saw as a press screening just recently. First time back in a cinema since August 2020, I think was the last time I went to see a movie at the cinema. So that was an interesting experience. So, Nikki, you are a big Zack Snyder fan, right? I mean,
I guess so, yeah.
But because I remember when we talked about Justice League, you were kind of a lot more of a kind of cheering section for that movie than I was. Again, a controversial figure politically, it seems, in film. There is a kind of one set of the audience that thinks he has a very Randian worldview and quite a right-wing, therefore a right-wing worldview. I don't necessarily always agree with those connections. I don't think he is actually very right-wing. I think he just naturally kind of finds some of the more extreme aspects of these characters. I don't always agree with his interpretations of comic characters. I did really enjoy 300 as a movie. Excuse me, germane to this, I really enjoyed Dawn of the Dead. How did you feel about that one? Did you like that one?
Loved it. Yeah, loved it. Yeah, it was great.
And I think regardless of how people feel about his work, a lot of people agree that Dawn of the Dead was a pretty damn good movie, even for a remake of a much loved horror film. But yeah, controversial figure. I guess we won't go too much into that this time around because we kind of did that when we did Justice League. I don't always agree with the things that are thrown at him. I don't always like his movies. There's plenty of his movies that I haven't enjoyed, or haven't enjoyed as much as I would have hoped. I still think he's one of the more interesting kind of visualists out there. I think he does have an obsession with moments and not scenes, and that's a problem. However, a problem for me anyway. However, I think this film does actually address some of that. So just to give people a quick rundown of the concept, there has been a zombie outbreak in America, specifically in Las Vegas, when the army are transporting a zombie soldier, we assume, who gets loose, starts biting people, creates an entire state of zombies, it seems, in Las Vegas. The decision is made to bottle in Las Vegas, to wall it all in, and then we jump forward. Do you remember what the time lapse is between them kind of walling Vegas in and making the decision that they make at the beginning of the movie?
I don't, I have a problem where I really disregard text. I'm not even... I feel so horrible. I could have saved you there. But yeah,
fine.
if it's any text on a screen, I don't know why. I just blank it out.
I think it's about a year later or so, or something.
It's
like
pretty
that.
quick, right?
Yeah. So the decision is made by the American government to nuke Vegas with a low yield nuclear weapon. So they will wipe it off the map and thusly destroy all the zombies. So in the opening sequence, we see Dave Bautista and various other tough characters fighting their way out of Vegas. In another one of Zack Snyder's trademark kind of title sequences. I actually liked this title sequence. The music in the film is very interesting because he uses. Did you notice that he almost entirely, apart from the Elvis song at the beginning, uses cover versions of songs, and I can't remember if the song at the end. I think the song at the end actually is a cover version as well.
No, the song at the end that's Cranberries.
Is it Cranberries performing it? Yeah.
Yeah, that's
we'll get to the what I feel might be the sort of slight tastelessness of using zombie in. I know it's a zombie film, but we'll get to that.
Oh, I'm interested for that. Oh wait, now that we're talking about the music real quick, do you know that he uses Richard Cheese in like all of his movies?
Really? So
yeah.
Richard Cheese performs the brilliant, amazing version of Disturbed's "Down with the Sickness" in Dawn of the Dead. That's amazing.
So
is he in every film?
He's in every film.
I can't believe that he uses.
He's in the Superman ones too.
No way.
Yeah, you gotta go back. I can't remember.
Oh my god!
Now I can't remember what song he did. He's in there too. I think they have a good relationship, so he's incorporated in a lot. Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah. Now I gotta go back to like these and just like double check it. But yeah, that really hammered it home. Like, wait a second, he was in the last one of it. Oh. Yeah, this just like really hammered it home. It's like, wait a second, he was in the Superman ones too. Like,
right. So. Okay. I love that sequence, that montage in Dawn of the Dead. I confused a bunch of people on Facebook the other day because I went, I've gone down a Me First and the Gimme Gimmes rabbit hole on on YouTube, and a bunch of people were just like, what are you talking? Like, what is that? Like, look them up, you won't regret it. They're quite simple. They're kind of the opposite end to Richard Cheese in that they do cover versions, but their cover versions are kind of quite driving and rocky. Would you say they do rockabilly versions of ballads, basically?
Awesome.
Whereas Richard Cheese does ballad versions of rock.
It's just like, he's so talented. I can't say enough great things about Richard Cheese. But
what song does he perform in this?
Viva Las Vegas.
Oh, awesome.
Yeah, that was the beginning. Yeah, it started out with him, and then they transitioned into. I should have looked it up. Another.
Oh, Alison. Oh man, what's her name? I can't remember because I think I had the subtitles on, so they tell you who's singing.
But it started with him though.
Alison Town. I want to say Alison Town. No. Oh, I don't know. It's gone.
Oh my god. Yeah, you're gonna get blasted now.
It's fine.
Yeah.
It's fine. I just watched this last night. Give me a break.
Damn it. So good. Yeah. Pass it back over.
Yeah, no. I mean, it's a terrific movie. I actually quite enjoyed most elements of it. So it's always the kind of, again, not to harp on politics, but zombie films often contain allegories for political climates and situations. I mean, we had, of course, Day of the Dead, or Dawn of the Dead, Dawn of the Dead in the shopping mall, which kind of said something about the kind of dive into commercial bliss. Yeah, consumerist. That's the word I'm looking for. Consumerist, yeah. Consumerist society whilst the world burns around you. and there's a lot of them are seen as kind of Vietnam allegories, given the time they were kind of released, or allegories for kind of Reaganite politics and things like that. Again, I'm going by the sort of 80s period when they were released, 70s and 80s period when they were released. The interesting thing about that is I remember seeing an interview with George Romero once, right? And he quite pointedly said, I hope I'm not misremembering, but he went, look, we never went in with a political viewpoint when we did these films. That's something everyone else just imprinted on them afterwards, and we just waited for people to do that. So that's kind of an interesting thing. I wonder if that's true for a lot of people in 70s cinema and things.
How much of it is interpreted versus like, no, I just want to make a damn monster movie and not have people put words in my mouth.
But having said that, I think it's virtually impossible now not to be aware of some of the politics.
Yeah. Well, this was very direct. Yeah.
So this kind of takes in the pandemic. There's the great moment with Theo Rossi where he's basically using the temperature gun to measure people's temperature in a camp as if it was a real, it's like a real weapon. Like, this is the thing that could end your life, because if I decide this isn't within a certain range, you're out of here, you're dead, you're being dragged off and shot somewhere. And also you have people in camps, which is a real hotbed right now, given things we've seen at, on the Mexican border.
The containers, the wall that is like literally blocking out all these people.
But I think that's kind of his comment on kind of that stuff. I'm not sure that he necessarily agrees with those politics. I'm pretty sure he said on an interview recently where people, like, there was a live interview thing where people, and a lot of them were famous people, were sending him in questions about his movies and stuff like that, and one of them went about someone did actually ask about his politics, and he went, I'm a left-leaning Democrat, like, I don't what the so I think the trouble is, like, the Ayn Rand thing really kind of hits him every time, and that is a problem. I have not read the works of Ayn Rand, so I can't
I haven't
comment. But as I understand, they kind of it's that thing of moral objectivism where you're the hero of your own story. And it's just like, okay, I can see why that might be a problem, but also because I think then people translate that as leading to fascism. There might be a reason for that. I don't know enough about it. I don't think his politics are particularly right wing. I think I think he's interested in extremes. In his movies, like his movies are very extreme and they're very loud and they're very abrupt. But politically, I find him more acceptable than, say, Michael Bay. Like, But again, not to get into that. Let's talk about the movie itself. So the plot is Vegas has been walled off. The decision's been made that in 4 days, on 4th of July, which I burst out laughing at, they're going to drop the nuclear bomb on Vegas. And I literally screamed with laughter when they said, oh, we're doing this on the 4th of July holiday. It was hilarious. It's just like, what? Like, what?
It's so funny. Oh, and then they had the comment later that the president said, or that it would be cool or something. It would be totally cool or something like that if that happened.
So it kind of lets you know what president you're very probably dealing with
just it was sprinkled in. I mean, they said it and then moved on. It was good. It was really good. It was freaking ridiculous.
In the middle of the Las Vegas Strip is a hotel owned by a man called Tanaka Bly, I believe.
Yeah.
And he is a sort of Japanese-American businessman who has hundreds of millions of dollars, like $200 million, sitting in a vault at the bottom of his hotel. He wants that money back. So he recruits Dave Bautista. Now, Dave Bautista is a character who has saved the Secretary of State in the kind of fiction of the film. It's never really stated whether him and his group are part of a military unit, because at the beginning of the movie, during this wonderful title sequence, you see the military going in, dropping in troops, who of course just are there to get dropped on the zombies and get eaten, basically. But you also see this kind of group of locals seemingly taking on the zombies and winning in a big extent. So he gets hired for $50 million, which he's got to share with his group, however many people he brings with him, to bring back that $200 million. It also happening in this, there is a character called the Coyote, Lily, who is a member of the camp that's kind of existing outside of Vegas, where all these people have been displaced, and she is ferrying people in to crack open slot machines, get money, come out and change their life. Of course, they don't always make it out because the place is running rife with zombies. So the idea is that one of the friends of Dave Bautista's daughter has been ferried inside Vegas to crack open the slot machine and has gone missing. Yeah. She's gone missing. Yeah. Like, why would you do it? Why would you go in, even for money? Although I kind of I was sitting here with Steph, so Steph was kind of watching it but not watching. And she was pretty disgusted with a lot. She was just like, oh god, look at this. And I was like, oh, the blood. But I was saying to her, God, I hope someone makes it out with like a few million at least.
Yeah, really. Like, wait, so hold up 1 second. This woman goes in, like they were transporting them out anyway. Like, what was the purpose?
Yeah, but I think the idea was that she wanted to get out fully, and she saw, you know, these machines have like sometimes like 100 grand in them or 20 grand or whatever. You can crack open one of those machines and get enough to change your life. And it's like, I totally get that.
Yeah.
Like, I totally get it. It's whether or not I'd be thinking about that in the middle of a zombie outbreak, I don't know. I don't know.
Yeah.
And also, like, I think I would have left that camp a long freaking time ago. Like, I would have got, right? Like, I would not want just a bunch of shipping containers between me and millions of zombies.
Well, I'm like, excuse me, there are obviously the just flesh-eating zombies, and then they have like the smart ones. Like,
yeah, the alphas, as they're called.
I mean, who's preventing them from opening the door or like climbing
or climbing the wall? Like, I was surprised that they hadn't figured out how to do that. So this team goes in, and the idea is they have to make their way down the strip into this hotel, get into the basement of the hotel, crack open a safe. Now, this is the other plot hole that I had, and I don't want people to kind of get the wrong idea. I enjoyed the movie, but
here we go.
Well, look, work with me, right? Yeah, like work with me. Tanaka, who owns the hotel and has had all the money to set up the hotel and all that, doesn't have the combination to his own safe.
Right?
Like what the like what?
Why?
I just didn't. So they have to hire this little, and it was great fun for Steph to see this little German guy running around.
He loves him Dieter, yeah.
Yeah. Chase. Probably actually one of the few kind of moral characters in the thing, because he's willing to give up his own life in order to. It's always interesting to see in these sort of life or death situations, characters who suddenly find their spirituality or something. It's just like no.
Yeah.
So they have to go in, crack the safe open, get the money out, take it up to a helicopter which has been left on the roof for a year or so. Like, there's a lot of not plot holes, but contrivances and things that make you scratch your head. Like, $200 million in whatever freaking denomination it's in weighs a ton. Like, it's really heavy.
Like, how are they going to pop that thing in there?
How are they planning to get 8 people in a helicopter plus $200 million off that roof? I just don't get it. They'd have been better firing a bloody grappling hook from the freaking roof across the wall and just, slinging it down. Yeah. But, those sort of contrivances aside, it is a lot of fun. I mean, you do have some interesting interpersonal relationships. So Ella Purnell plays Dave Bautista's daughter in this. And that wasn't clear either, because it never seemed like she was actually his daughter. What it seemed like is he was her mum's boyfriend. And in the one of the opening sort of flashback scenes, the mother of Ella Purnell has been zombified and Bautista has to kill her. Mm-hmm. Which of course she never forgives him for. She kind of is dead set that, that was wrong. So they have this quite fraught relationship. Also sent into Vegas with them is Tanaka's head of security, who right away it's like, that guy's got ulterior motives, right? Which of course he does. Yeah, they're trying to bring back a vial of the blood of one of the alpha zombies because they want to sell that to the military to make more of these zombies. The film is full of kind of nods to other things. Mm-hmm. Raiders of the Lost Ark, Aliens. I mean, Aliens is just all over this movie. And it's funny because in a few weeks we are going to be talking about Aliens in July when the 30th anniversary of that, or 35th anniversary of that comes up. So it was kind of fascinating to see all those things where you're kind of just ticking boxes on, that's that movie and that's that movie. How did you find it? I'm sorry, I'm babbling on.
No.
Nikki, talk to me about what
it was fun. Movie, a couple of things. I did not think that was his actual daughter. So right. I'm pretty sure that was he was boyfriend of the mom, and that was her daughter, and then he disappeared out of her life after the mom got killed. And that's why I thought that she was pissed off at him. The thing that bothered me, and this was one of the few knocks that I had for the movie, was, and he knew it was coming, Maria's character, the car mechanic. Did they have to have a love interest? I mean, he has a daughter with this other woman. That's the love interest, and then all of a sudden, 2 seconds before she gets brutally her head twisted off, they're talking about, I didn't come here for the money, I came here for you. It's God damn it! No, you're just gonna be here because you're friends, and now you're gonna get your head twisted off. We don't have to throw in another element that's not gonna be. It's just
I think part of that was that the reason why they do that is to try and lure you into a false sense of security that everything's kind of going to be okay, but of course it really isn't. And
it's BS. It's BS. I didn't like it. It was so unnecessary, and I totally get that the comment as far as like luring you in, but like do it some other way. Like it was. This is a convenient place to put this.
Right.
I think some of the things that you had said about the Superman things, now I'm seeing over here. But yeah, that was one of the few things. Other than that, yeah, super fun movie. Let's see, what are the only other knock I had was the montages. I felt
he does do a lot of but I found that in a lot of genre cinema and television now. It's the montage set to music, whether it's the pop song or the cover of the pop song, and it's just like I'm beginning to get really annoyed with it because it's something I've noticed. I can't remember what show I was watching a few months back, but there was something like 3 music-based montages in the opening, like in the space of like 10 minutes, and it's just like, look, I get that you've got to show the passage of time, but yes, this probably would have benefited from digging you into the tension of the individual scenes. That said, in a lot of ways, I think the film is a lot more controlled than some of these other films that he's made are.
Yeah. No, you're totally right for being something so ridiculous.
Yeah. Like he's actually kind of almost restrained himself a bit and kind of held back a bit. And I think there is something to be said for that. And I don't know if that maybe he's just got fed up of doing these really massive bloated things, because if you look at the way the film's shot, a lot of it's just like, okay, I bet all the outdoorsy stuff was really freaking expensive.
Yeah.
But everything else was done really cheap and really quickly.
Mm.
Like really fast. And you do get that sense. I don't like, one thing that annoyed me, and Steph picked up on this as well, was the blurred edges of the frame all the time. So all the images, if you look at them, there's loads of shots where all the edges of the frame are just really blurred. And I don't know why that is. I don't know what sort of lenses they were shooting on.
I didn't notice that.
So they're all kind of out of focus, and like it's a very shallow focus film anyway. So I don't know if it's something to do with that. It was really freaking annoying. But you have fun watching it. I would have liked a bit more context for some of the characters. I really liked Tanaka. Like, I really liked him.
Yeah.
Like, the whole kind of, easy peasy Japanesey thing at the beginning was hilarious. And you didn't expect it to go there. And it's quite... and I liked his kind of... the sort of flip way that he kind of demos what they've got to do.
Yeah. So good.
And I thought there was some interesting stuff there, but I wish there'd perhaps been more of him in the movie. I really like Batista. Like, he's someone who's so really good. Kind of grown on me. I like his quite sort of deadpan manner that he's got, and I've seen a few interviews with him, because initially I was like, wrestler, I don't care. Yeah. But I've seen a few interviews with him where he's like, oh no, I'm actually quite shy, and he just seems like a really sweet guy.
He really brings it in some of those intense scenes. You really believe it, and it's funny because he had the one with his daughter, and then like you really feel for him in that moment, and then they do it again with the Maria chick. But like, you really believe it when it's coming from him. Like, he really like brought that. It's like, oh, I didn't see any of this interaction happen, but like based on his reaction, it obviously happened.
I think he's one of those guys who's like a really good actor.
Yeah.
Almost trapped in the body of a giant, a monster. He's a huge guy, and there's been a thing recently. There's a story circulating that apparently he called a meeting with Warner Brothers. Like, he told them, I'm coming in for a meeting. And they kind of sat around and he went, just so you know, if you ever do Bane in Batman again, I'm playing Bane. And I hope that's true. Like,
yeah, me too.
And they were like, but we're not even. He was like, I don't care. If you're doing it, I'm doing it. Like,
call me up. Yeah, let's get this rolling. Yeah.
Yeah.
Just do a Bane movie, period.
Yeah.
I'd watch it.
I love that idea. I think that's amazing. Yeah, I'd watch that. I think he's great as Drax in Guardians of the Galaxy.
He's so fun. And like, again, I worked there, you know, so like I saw his wrestling.
Yeah.
Role, but like, seeing him in like all these roles is like, wow, I like really like him. Like between the Guardian stuff, he's a super funny.
Did you ever, when you worked, because you worked for WWE, right?
Yeah.
So it's Nikki's secret identity. At one stage, Nikki worked for WWE. Did you get to meet any of the
I did, but he wasn't on my list of people that I met. But
right,
and it was very small because I didn't have the exposure like to the shows. But yeah, like seemed like a great guy, but obviously his acting is flawless.
I think it's great.
Between that, did you ever see that movie Stuber?
I've never been able to get through it for some reason. I don't know why. I've tried twice to watch it, but it's probably nothing to do with the movie. It's more to do with my, like, sometimes I add that with films. It takes me 2 or 3 tries. I did see him in a movie, a kids movie called My Spy, which he was excellent in.
I haven't seen that.
Well, I got a like a preview thing to go and review it for the website, and I just went ahead and did it because it was, although it's not comics, it was just like, Drax is in it. Oh.
Yeah. Get the other one on the list. Like, you gotta just muscle through whatever part. I think
it's on one of the streaming services, so I'll try and give it a look.
Good. It's so he's so funny. It's like I can't say enough good things about him. But
I will give it a look. But yeah, like it's a very. It is kind of almost a continuation of the stuff that you saw in Dawn of the Dead. In fact, you can almost kind of see this being, because of the way the film ends, being a prequel to Dawn of the Dead in a way.
Good point. Yeah,
there is some terrific acting in it. There is that thing in horror films and action films where you do end up screaming at the screen going, why aren't you running? Why aren't you doing this? Why aren't you shooting him just straight in the head? And I actually am completely guilty of that with this. I sat there and was going, what the fuck? And Steph was looking at me like, what is wrong with you? Just like, but And some of it does not hold up to logic, unfortunately. It really doesn't. Which is a shame, because I really would have liked to have seen him come back with something that was almost completely flawless, and just to kind of go to be. There's a lot of good humor in it. There's some great actors. They're all great sort of character actors. Garrett Dillahun, who plays the security guy, who has been doing fantastic TV and movies for years, and he's always quite a sort of edgy, slimy presence in a lot of stuff. Is fantastic. There's, as I said, Ella Purnell is quite good as the daughter. I really love Lily, the coyote character. I really liked her. So very badass. And of course, Theo Rossi. Now, Theo Rossi is an actor who appeared in Luke Cage. He was Shades in the Luke Cage Marvel Netflix series, who again is quite a menacing presence, and quite the bad guy in this. Although there's almost some, like, he gets offed quite early on, not offed, but things happen to him quite early on. There is almost something in you that wants to see the nastiest guys be the ones walk away at the end, like, you know what I mean? Just as a kind of, like, I like films and shows that can do that, because sometimes that's life, you know. Unfortunately, sorry, you were going to say something about
the one real takeaway for me was was the fact that they went through all this mousetrap, or like when you were talking about it before, like I'm like, oh wow, this movie was like the game of Mousetrap. They get through all that, somehow manage. Well, like everybody basically dies at the end. Like it was all for nothing. And on top of it, the zombie got out. Like all for nothing.
Yeah, I mean, like it is, that frustrated me as well, because I really wanted to see someone come away with something. And of course, the guy that does is unfortunately the guy that you know, may cause. There is apparently, I think there's going to be like they've done a sequel or a side movie already.
Oh, really?
Yeah, directed by someone else though, not Snyder Man. And I think this, yes. There might be like an animated thing coming as well.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, I might give that a go. I mean, like zombie fiction is always a tough one for me. I'm not sure that I enjoy it that much. I find a lot of it quite sickening and quite repulsive. You know?
It's gross. I always liked it. After a while with The Walking Dead, I feel like it got to be too much. You know, and then, you know, it was like the in thing for a good portion of time. You know, they did that with vampires and they overdid zombies. Like, so I still think I need a little more time before I get back into zombies, but this was fun.
Yeah. And there is I think the difference between this sort of stuff and vampire fiction is that zombie fiction lacks sex. Do you know what I mean? Whereas vampires have sex. That's the thing. They're sexy. Zombie fiction is not sexy.
You bring that up, and like, what I was thinking while I was watching the movie was, you know, they obviously have these the smart zombies, like they have their gimmick. I was like thinking about it. I'm like, oh, I wonder if, you know, you could do figures on like everything, you know, like in the comic world, you know, everything's a figurine and collectible. I'm like, they don't really have too many zombie ones, but like they've identified like 2 lead zombie characters, but still like it's not like enough to be a figure, you know?
Yeah, they could.
I mean, just Nikki random thought. Like,
yeah, it could be.
But how do you make a unique zombie?
Yeah, see, now that's a tough thing. I mean, I think the things that could have got closest in fiction kind of shied away from it. So if you look at probably the closest thing in fiction that I can think of is I Am Legend, which I don't know if you've ever read Bradbury's book.
I haven't read it.
Sorry, Matheson's book, not Bradbury. That's definitely worth a read. If you get the chance to read that book, do. It's like, it is a phenomenal bit of writing. But the films of that never really kind of go where you want them to go. And I think, you know, what you really wanted was vampires in the Will Smith one, and what you got was zombies.
Yeah.
And it's like, look, I mean, I know they're not zombies, they're and I Am Legend, it has its own, that book has its own kind of bizarre history in that it's been filmed 3 times under 3 different titles. So Last Man on Earth, The Omega Man, and I Am Legend. And none of them quite capture what the book is. I think there's a lot in common with modern zombie fiction. Like, I'm not sure where the biting came from, whether or not that's something that Romero put in there, but because zombies in mythology are something completely different. They're not monsters as such. They're kind of closer to somnambulism. You know, where you kind of make a person sleepwalk.
Got it.
But they do it with the dead. There's a really good film called I Walked with a Zombie that, if you can track down, is worth looking at. It's an old Jacques Tournier film who did the original Cat People, and he did a lot of horror, kind of atmospheric horror stuff. I've gone completely, I don't know where I'm going with this. But yeah, like zombie fiction has a lot in common with vampire fiction, minus the sex, I think. I don't think you can necessarily sex up zombies. I don't think you can make them appealing in that way. I guess the things that are tried.
Do they have to be appealing?
No, you're absolutely right. They don't.
People aren't appealing.
So, thus speaks the great humanitarian.
I mean, that, like,
shit. Apart from all our listeners and viewers, of course, all you guys are lovely.
I mean, from that standpoint, like, if you think about zombies as more of a plague, they are a plague.
Yeah.
I mean, they could do well. Oh wait a second, hold up. That actually, how the F was the lead female zombie pregnant?
Yeah, that was an interesting thing. Like,
now that we're talking about
don't really,
sex, yeah,
that was so bizarre. That was so like, ugh.
I mean, and then on top of it, like, the guy was like obviously mad that his dead zombie baby was dead. I did not understand that.
But like, do zombies know they're dead? I don't know. Do they know? I don't know. It's an interesting point. Like,
but even if they don't know, like, isn't it still dead? It's the undead.
What I'm saying is, if you don't realize you're dead, then are you really dead? Like, but you know what I'm saying, right?
I know what you're saying, but like, I know what you're saying. Do you know what I'm saying?
Where are we going with this?
But how? Yeah, but she's not alive.
No,
they're animated. But how is she able to have a child?
like that's
the logistics of that do not make sense.
But I guess because they're the different kind, they're the alpha zombies, and
so they're like half dead.
Yeah, I don't know. It's weird. It's so
I don't
weird.
know, but they definitely had sex.
It is, yeah. Apparently, I can't imagine what that's like. I don't imagine there's a lot of foreplay or
that'll be in the side plot. Yeah,
TLC afterwards.
Spin off, yeah.
Hold me. You know.
He was genuinely upset.
It's becoming an entirely different show now. I'm sorry. I'm really sorry, everyone. We've just gone.
That was just something that did not make sense to me at all. Yeah. So, but anyway,
overall, I quite enjoyed this. I think it is worth watching. It's on Netflix now. It's just one. There's also like a making of documentary on there as well, which I'm going to take a look at, which looks quite good. It is worth tracking down. I'm not sure. Like, I want to see this again.
But I felt really, the same way.
Yeah, I really enjoyed it
after the first time.
I think it's the type of thing I could probably have on in the background if I didn't, if I wanted to do something, but I just wanted some noise in the background. I think there's stuff in it. I think it's a lot better than a lot of the films he's done in the last few years. I think it's interesting to see him. I mean, he's such a controversial figure, and you can't talk about his films without talking about him. Whereas I think with a lot of filmmakers, you can just talk about the film. But I think with him, you can't. I hope that he'll do more movies for studios that are going to let him do what he needs to do, and at least try and figure out who he is as a filmmaker. I'd like to see him do something small again, but I don't know if that's going to be his sort of destiny, really. Yeah, so do watch that, Army of the Dead on Netflix. Sorry, it's been a very strange review, this. Do you mind, in the last few minutes, if I just talk about something that I saw? So, A Quiet Place Part 2, which I saw at a press screening, Paramount Pictures. This is John Krasinski directing again. Emily Blunt is in it. John Krasinski is also actually in the film again because it does employ a flashback structure.
that goes back to the very beginnings of the alien invasion in the original Quiet Place. Have you seen the first one, Nikki?
Yeah, the first one. I've saw only the first one.
Right, yeah. So the second one is out sort of June, I think, early June. I don't know when it's out in the US. Definitely out in the UK on 3rd of June, I believe. So I watched the first one on Monday, and on Tuesday I went to see the preview screening of this movie. I really enjoyed this, like wholeheartedly got into it. So the conceit is there are these aliens that have arrived on Earth via this meteorite strike. They hunt by sound. So if you speak or make a lot of noise, they're on you. They've got this amazing armored head design where they're basically their skulls are basically just one big ear, so they're always listening. And they are out there in rural America, where John Krasinski and his wife Emily Blunt have made a home. Of course, that all gets decimated in the opening minutes of the film. We then jump forward to the end of the first film. We're then kind of progressing forward from there as Emily Blunt and her now 3 children have to escape the farmhouse and the life that they've built and make their way cross country to try and find sanctuary. They run across an old family friend who is reluctant to help them for his own reasons, but the daughter, who has the kind of hearing aid that's malfunctioning and can create that sort of perfect pitch of sound that destroys the aliens, decides that she's going to go off on her own and try and find a way to stop them. It was really good. Like, it is a super tense movie. One thing that it does really well is creating multiple points of action that you can still follow and cutting across those. So at one point there's 3 sort of action scenes going on, or 3 suspense moments that are kind of building, and the film quite skillfully jumps along that triangle really easily, really perfectly, and it then whittles those down, because as one gets resolved, you'll then whittle down to 2, and then eventually 1, and it does it really well. It's the sound is really amped up in this, as it should be, like so that you really feel in your chest like these sounds. Sorry, I'm getting really excited about this. It was a really good movie, and the music is obviously really kind of amped up. If you're a fan of the first Quiet Place, I would say obviously definitely go. I mean, I don't think there's any way you're not going to go. I guess the question is, with being a sequel, does it continue the story in a satisfying way? Yes, it does. It leaves things open for a 3rd movie, which of course might be a very different film. This film is a bit more expansive and a bit bigger than the first movie. I believe that the first movie had something like a $17 million budget and went on to make something like $450 million, which is why they kind of, do a sequel. But it doesn't feel like a cash-in sequel. It actually feels like a genuine continuation. The child actors are great. I believe the lead child actor, I can't remember her name, I'm sorry, is actually deaf in real life. It's brilliantly done. It gives you some, like, the contrivances, if you like, to allow people to have conversations with each other are actually really well done, and they're entirely plausible. As with the first film's waterfall thing, which I thought was great. The scenes are really well handled. The effects are perfect. Just generally, I would say, 5 out of 5. Go and see it. I really enjoy it.
I'm ready to go.
You can see it while you're on your bacon. But yeah, definitely worth watching. I really loved it. I just want to give that a quick shout out. There will be a fuller review online. I might actually try and do a full review for Army of the Dead as well. Because I kind of feel like we bounced around on this. It's everything you want to know about the movie, but just not in order. But yeah, like two good movies back to back that I've seen recently. It's weird going back to cinemas for the first time.
Yeah, I can't imagine. I can't imagine it.
It was very socially distanced, and I understand the company, like we had to sign like a medical waiver, not waiver, but like a questionnaire. And I totally agree with that. I totally agree with social distancing. I hope people will go back to the cinema. I'm not massively keen myself, but that's for personal reasons. I hope that eventually the time will be when we can take off the masks and not have to do that. Because that was the only discomfort is just wearing the mask for 2 hours or an hour and 50 minutes is that's uncomfortable. However, I do believe in wearing masks and doing all that stuff. So, at the moment, as we record this, we're coming to the final month now of restrictions, we think, in England. We're assuming that by June the 23rd, we'll be able to kind of lift all restrictions. So I'm looking forward to that. Yeah, I mean, do go back to cinemas if you feel comfortable doing that. I think there's a lot out there to see, certainly A Quiet Place Part 2. But equally, as we found out today, plenty of entertainment at home on Netflix and Amazon. Yeah, I mean, Nikki, are you looking forward to going back to the movies, do you think? Or...
I am definitely excited about the concept of it right now. Right. The logistics I'm still working out in my head, but yeah, I feel like it'd be nice to do it again. Yeah. I mean, it had to be really nice to walk into a place again and like, oh, all right, this is what it felt like. But I'm still in that mode where being out is like a little foreign still.
Yeah. Okay. That's interesting. I found it a bit full of anxiety going back out. I by and large only pop out and see people once a week when I go and get my comics. I have found the experience a little angsty, one thing that's made a difference here in the UK, the weather's been appalling, but you could only, up until last Monday, you could only sit outside. And one thing that has made a real difference is being able to go and sit inside and have a coffee.
Yeah.
So that's good. So actually, after I saw this movie, after I saw A Quiet Place 2, I went and got a coffee with a friend, and we got to sit inside, and it was and that was nice. So I'll be glad when things open up fully. I hope that everyone is safe and well. I know there are terrible things happening in India at the moment in terms of the sort of spread of COVID. I hope those guys, come out of this okay, and I hope that the UK is able to help and do that. And I hope everyone in America is kind of vaccinated soon, and you guys get back to normal. Because certainly I've got progress. Yeah, I've got pals out there, and I am terribly concerned with how everyone's doing. And yeah, but cinemas, I don't know. I kind of had this thing now where I think the experience might be over for me with cinemas to a certain degree.
It's nice to have the option to do both, though.
Yeah,
because
sure.
In a lot of movies, you either want to have the audience reactions with you, or you just don't want to hear it from anybody. Like especially, I'm a big horror fan. Everybody's always gonna be screaming and like, don't do that. Like, shut up. They're gonna do it.
Yeah, I can just see you saying that in a movie.
Shut up. What do you think they're gonna do?
I think the worst thing in the UK in some of the cinemas is the quality of the screens and the projection is in some cinemas. Not the cinema I saw this movie in, I have to say, the Picture House in central London. Is terrible. Like, it's just appalling. When I went to see Tenet, the projection of that back in August last year, the last time I was in a movie house, was terrible. And that actually made me think, I'm kind of over this experience now. I am glad that Black Widow is going to be on Disney Plus same day, and I'll buy it there. I don't like the idea of paying another 20 quid every time there's a new movie on that I want to see. That's freaking crazy.
Yeah.
But there you go. It is what it is. Safety first, you know. So as the world gets back to normal, I hope people that are comfortable with going to the cinema go back to cinema. I hope the cinema as an industry pulls through. But I would ask cinemas, please, for the love of God, start cracking down on people who want to talk or want to freaking text.
Check it at the door.
Yeah. Like,
do the Rob Zombie method. Now I can't remember which podcast I said that on because we did a couple today.
The last one. It was the last one.
It was the last one. Put your phones away. Enjoy the moment. Basically, in the nutshell. Thank you, Rob Zombie. Goodbye.
And there is something in that. There is something in that, I think, and but I think where possible, I'm probably going to start watching movies at home where I can. I don't know. It's an odd thing. I'm unsure. I'm undecided. But I'm quite happy to sit and watch Black Widow here in the comfort of my own home. And just get a bunch of snacks and be able to pop to the loo when I want and just
pause.
I'm looking forward to that. Liz and I will be doing the show on Black Widow when that happens.
Oh, good.
I think if I let anyone else but Liz do the Marvel movies, I'd be strangled. But yeah, Nikki, thank you so much for giving up so much of your time today
to do
this. No, it's been great. We have, as I said, we've done 2 back-to-back, so we've covered like 4 things, and so, I really appreciate you giving up all that time.
Thank you.
I wish you and yours the best. I hope you're doing well. And the next time we talk will be in, I think it's sometime in June, because we're going to do Superman 2 has got its 40th anniversary around sometime in the summer. So I think Keith and I are going to be doing the main podcast, this show, on that. Then Nikki is going to come on and do the kind of after show special for the Patreon guys. Remember, you can sign up to the Patreon for 2 quid and you'll be able to see that and hear it. We'll do a podcast version of that as well. Then in July, Nikki, you're coming on hopefully to do Aliens, which has got a 35th anniversary. So again, we're stepping slightly outside of comics for that one, but I don't care.
Well, technically,
there are Aliens comics, and it's good because we'll get to see some of your fantastic artwork, I hope, on Aliens when we do that. So you're coming on for that, and then you and Keith are going to swap, because Keith is going to hopefully do the the Patreon for Aliens, and we're going to find a different way to talk about it. So I think Keith and I will cover the Alien series as a whole. You and I will talk about Aliens, that one movie. I'm really looking forward to hearing your views on that. I've got the Blu-ray here. I'm going to sit and watch that as soon as I can. So lots coming up on From Panels to Pictures. Lots coming up on Script and Pencils. There's stuff happening there. There's shows on there right now, guys. Go and take a look. We've got the new Loki after show starting on around the 10th of June, I think. I don't know yet. It depends on Liz's and I's schedule. And of course, our new show, Crushing Comics, which is the comics review show, is live now. We've got the first episode. I think by the time you hear this, there'll probably be 2 episodes up, but take a look at that. Nikki, thank you so much for taking the time. Check out the Patreon, check out the web store, leave us a comment, tell us what you thought of this. If you want to shout at me on social media, it's at the Comic Crush. Yeah, just do it. Just shout at me in public. Lots of people do that too. At the Comic Crush on Twitter and Instagram. If you want, Nikki, I forgot to say on the last show, actually, if you want to check out the art that Nikki does, then you want slanted line. Yeah, on Instagram only.
Yeah.
You're an Instagram only gal. And I think people can just get in touch with you, right? If they like your art, they can just get in touch. Yeah, so send Nikki a message about any of her art, and I believe that stuff is for sale. It's definitely art you want to own. It's a lot of fun, and you do an amazing range of stuff from sort of quite comedic monster stuff to some really kind of different, almost fine art style stuff. You've got an amazing range as an artist.
Thank you.
Music wise, if people wanted to check out your music.
Oh yeah, I got that on Instagram too. Yeah,
Wow. Okay.
I'm on Apple Music and Amazon Music and Spotify. So.
And what are you under? Like, what's your
slanted line?
That's all under slanted
line. Everything's under slanted line. But yeah, Fantastic. If you guys have any feedback or just want to say hello, please DM me. I'd love to hear from you.
Yeah, Nikki and I DM all the time. We love it. We're always chatting away about what we're reading and but do check out her art and her music, both of which are phenomenal, and it's definitely worth looking at. And Nikki, thank you so much for giving up so much of your Sunday to do this. We'll catch you next time on The Crush. Bye.
Bye. Thanks, Paul.
Cheers.